Hey everybody, it's Wvgunsngoats and I'm back with another video. This time it is a trio of very futuristic shotguns. This is not going to be a shooting video, that's going to come in part 2. So please like, comment, and subscribe and watch for that second video. However, with a capacity of 50 rounds between all three of these, that's going to take quite a bit of ammunition to do. With that said, let's get started here. Now the problem that these shotguns attempt to solve is a shotgun is a traditionally low capacity weapon. Now that's due to the size of shotgun shells just being physically large rounds of ammunition. However, if you wanted a high capacity standard shotgun, you'd have a very long magazine tube sticking out in front. Your 18 to 20 inch shotguns hold about 5 to 7 rounds. And then came the box magazine fed shotguns like the Saiga, the MKA 1919, and so on. Now the problem with those is now you have a very large weight if you want a 20 round drum hanging below, or you have a very long curved stick mag. Some of those 19 round magazines, well, they definitely put the banana in banana magazine. I've got 3 here. This one's just the SRM 1216. And we'll get to it in a few minutes, but we're going to start right here with the Tavor TS12. Now you may have seen this shotgun at your local gun shop. This is one of the most widespread, easily available versions of a shotgun like this, with the horizontal magazine tubes that rotate. I've seen these in a lot of gun shops. However, the other two I haven't seen in a lot of gun shops, but we'll get to those here soon. So we're going to go front to back, left to right on this shotgun and go over some features. First off, this is threaded for Benelli chokes. It has M-lock slots on either side. The magazine tube's exterior is textured, so if your hands are wet or the gun's wet, you can still get a firm grip on it. Right here, you have a gas regulator switch that goes for high to low brass, and you can change that by pulling the charging handle out, putting it in there, and changing it from high to low depending on the load that you're shooting. Right here, you have a charging handle slot. The charging handle on this gun is ambidextrous. It can be pulled out and placed on the right side of the gun. Here you have 2 QD sling mounts. You have the ejection port. Now here, right here, is the loading gate to load the right side magazine tube. Below here is a button that will cause the round to pop out of the magazine tube so you can unload it without needing to shoot the gun. You have a fairly large recoil pad. Flipping it around here, we have 2 more QD sling sockets, and you also have a loading port on the left side of the gun. So ambidextrous loading ports, if you're left or right-handed, allow you to top this gun off because these magazine tubes are non-removable. Right here you have a push button style safety, so that is ambidextrous, and this lever, or push button right here, this is what latches the magazine tubes. See if we can do that here. Push in on that and rotate. When you're shooting, it'll look like this. Finger pushes in, rotate it around. Now say you've emptied the magazine tube by shooting, the bolt will be locked back. As soon as you rotate to the next magazine tube, it is going to automatically cycle that round into the chamber for you. So something to keep in mind, if you do rotate this and the bolt is locked back, it will load around. All 3 of those shotguns will do that. So that is the TS-12. This is the SRM 1216. We're going to do a comparison size-wise between the two. Now the TS-12 you can see is a bit shorter. It is a true bullpup design with the action behind the pistol grip. So it is the most compact while still having a capacity of 15 plus 1. The SRM, however, is just a little bit longer. This is the first of the two shotguns in our trio that have a removable magazine tube assembly. So you just push that down and pop it up. If you need to reload it, if you've got extra magazines, we'll get to that in a minute. First off, we'll start at the end here. This is a thread protector. This gun is externally threaded. However, I haven't been able to find any choke adapters. There is a muzzle brake and a door breaching assembly that you can purchase that will thread onto this. However, the threads are not compatible with Saiga or KSG or Vepr accessories. So right here you have a small section of rail, and that rail is on top of the magazine release housing, which is this large button here, easy to press with your finger there. Right here you have a lever on either side, and what that lever does is it locks your magazine tubes in place. So you have to press that up before you can rotate from empty to the next full magazine tube. It is still ambidextrous like the TS-12, just located in a different position. Here we have a front sling mount that can be changed from left to right side. You have a section of tri-rail and a top receiver rail here. We have a left side charging handle and a right side ejection port, which I believe can be swapped out. I'm not sure if it has to go back to the factory like the Tavor does, or if they send you the parts with instructions on how to do so. Down here we have a safety. It is easy to press up and off because it hangs down a little bit. So you just flip that off. That is only on the right side. I do not believe that that can be changed. Above that, you have a bolt release and bolt catch right here if you want to lock the bolt back. Coming back here, we have a Benelli style sling mount that goes through the stock. So this gun is set up for a 2-point sling from the factory. Now, unlike the Tavor, as you can see here, it's just bare barrel. There is no gas system on this gun because this gun uses a roller delayed blowback system, much like an MP5, a G3, or a Calico 9mm like the one I reviewed in an earlier video. So that keeps this gun very slim in size and very reliable because it's just an improved blowback system. That is the SRM 1216. Much like the TS-12, it is also made in the USA. Now, returning from a previous video, we have the Garaysar TR19S. Give you a size comparison between the SRM and the TR19 here. I believe I had one of the first videos on YouTube about this shotgun. This one, unlike the other two, is made in Turkey. So that makes this the cheapest gun on our list, and I'll go over the prices here in a minute after I'm done with the features. This looks like a muzzle device. It is not. It is just a decoration. Out here, there are no chokes in this gun. It is cylinder bore only. Another thing, this pin on the bottom, that has to be pulled up and rotated if you want to remove the magazine. So that's the magazine catch. This right here is the spring detent that keeps this magazine from rotating. However, unlike the other two shotguns, there is no button, no positive lock, just spring pressure. So you have to be very careful if you've got a loaded magazine and say you put it in there sideways so that it doesn't automatically load around with the bolt lock back. You have to be careful not to rotate it to a full chamber because it will cycle that round and make the gun ready to be fired. Also, if you accidentally rotate that, you can get your finger caught under this plastic piston cover here, and that's kind of painful. Back here, you have a right side charging handle only. This gun does not have any way to change the side that the charging handle is on. It is right side charge and right hand eject only. You have a bolt release right here. You have 2 takedown pins, a cross bolt style safety, and back here you have a QD sling mount on the right and left side. However, there is no provision at the front for you to mount a sling. So you'll have to mount something on these small, 2 very small sections of rail that are on the side there, or something, some kind of barrel clamp. Back here you have an adjustable cheek piece on the stock. This is also gas operated. It's supposed to be self-regulating, only needing enough gas to cycle the round and then venting the excess off. However, that may cause it to still need a break-in. I hear the TS-12 and the TR-19 both require about a 200 round break-in before they're 100% reliable. This gun came with flip-up sights. There were no sights included with the 1216 or the TS-12. And guys, I'm sorry if I messed some of these names up. They're very similar between the 3. That was the TR19S. Now, as I mentioned price before, the TS-12, they run about, I believe, 14 to 1600 bucks online or in gun shops, making them the second most expensive on our list here, or of our trio. Next is the SRM Arms 1216. This is the most expensive one. At one time, these guns were like $2,200. It was interesting. I was actually playing Far Cry 6 and saw this shotgun featured in the game. And I was like, hey, that shotgun still exists. I had forgotten all about the company, all about this shotgun. So I went online and saw the price had dropped drastically. And guys, you can get these for around $1,400 to $1,700. Just depends on where you find them. Most people, when I showed a picture of this too, they were like, hey, that's the Black Ops shotgun. Well, I never played Black Ops 2, but that's where everybody seems to know this shotgun from. So that's just an interesting side note there. It is cool enough to be in video games. The TR19S being made in Turkey makes this the cheapest option. I have seen this from, I believe, $700 to $900 online, depending on if it's on sale or not. Classic Arms seems to put this on sale a lot. Shout out to those guys. Usually when that goes out in a flyer email, I get a couple more views on my video, which is pretty cool. However, at that price point, it's just not as nice as the other two, and the fit and finish will show. The magazines feel a little cheaper than the SRMs. However, speaking of that, these run about 100 bucks, and these run $200 from the manufacturer. Alright, so next we're going to get some length and weight numbers for you guys. I remember getting asked a lot when I made the TR19 video, hey, what does that weigh? Hey, how long is that gun? So I got a scale here, and I got a tape measure, and we're going to go over that together. First, we'll start with our shortest one. The TS-12 is 28¼ inches long. The 1216 is 33¾ inches long, and the TR19S is, if it stays, come on, 37½ inches long. Now, these guns are very tall from bottom of the pistol grip to the rail, which makes people think, especially on this TS-12, that it's a very chunky shotgun. It's actually really slender, and you'll see here in a minute when I give a width measurement. From the pistol grip to the top of the rail, you're looking at about 10 inches tall. From the pistol grip to the rail on the 1216 is 7 3/8, and on the TR19 it is kind of hard to get an actual measurement there. It looks to be about 8 inches tall at its tallest point, which is the bottom of the pistol grip to the top of the rail. Now, when it comes to width, like I said, if you look at the shotgun this way, it looks very chunky. However, if you look at these shotguns this way, you'll see that they are actually really slim guns. And I took a measurement of this off camera. Guys, right here is the widest point. It is 3 inches wide. All three of these guns at their widest point, which is behind the magazine tubes, are 3 inches wide. That's extremely thin otherwise. They handle very, very well. Next, we're gonna put them on the scale here and get some numbers that way. All right, so the TS-12 weighs in at about 9.5 pounds. Now, all these weights are unloaded. I know it has an optic on it. It adds just a few ounces to the weight. Next up, we have the 12-16, and it weighs in at 8 pounds. So far, the lightest of the three, the TR19S, and 9.5 pounds for the TR19S. As I said, the magazine tubes do not remove on the TS-12, but they do on the SRM and the TR19. What we're going to do is I'm going to load these. I don't have any dummy rounds, so I'm not going to put them back into the gun right now. So we don't have to worry about any kind of issue there. However, normally you don't want to mix live rounds and guns you're just showing off. So these rounds go into the magazine tubes very easily. Just push them in. Of course, after I said that, the one wanted to hang up for a minute. So there you can see the magazine fully loaded. To unload that, there are these 4 fingers here in the center. You have to pull back on the finger and make sure you have a finger in front of the round, or else it will go flying out of its magazine tube. Then we'll go ahead and we'll load them on top of each other. Very easy to load these magazines. All 3 of these shotguns will use 2 3/4 or 3-inch shells. However, you lose 1 round of capacity if you're using 3-inch shells. So you lose 3 rounds, which gives you a total of 12 rounds plus 1. Whereas 2 3/4 has a capacity of 15 plus 1. On the SRM, you lose 4 rounds, so you have a capacity of 12 plus 1. And then on the TR19S, it's the same as the SRM. You have a capacity of 12 plus 1. Where normally with 2 3/4 shells, it's a capacity of 16 plus 1. Overall round capacity, 2 3/4 inch rounds, 16, 17, 17. Now, something I noticed that was interesting when I was looking at the manual for the SRM and the TR19 side by side, I noticed that the Turks just straight up ripped off and copied the manual page out of the SRM manual for the TR19. They just straight up copied that page, because looking at both magazines and looking at both manuals, it was the same page, which I thought was funny. They didn't take the time to write their own instruction page on how to load the magazines. So this one unloads about the same. You have a set of 4 fingers there in the center, and you have to press back on one, and that will allow the shell to slide out of its magazine tube. This one takes a little bit more force to load than the SRM magazine does. But I believe that's one of the things where the extra money put into the SRM really shows. Also, on this magazine, you have these witness holes to tell you how many rounds that you have loaded or have left when you're shooting. However, that can also allow dirt to get into your magazine. So guys, I think that about covers everything on these 3 horizontal magazine shotguns. Part 2 will be a shooting video where I take these out and just do some blasting with them and show the differences in them when shooting. So stay tuned for that video. And guys, this has been another WV Guns and Goats video. And remember, if you're not out there having fun shooting, what are you doing?